Mr. Stevens, greetings. Hi, baby. Hey, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Um, yeah, I'm just getting home from like I'm always doing. I'm just getting home from work, y'all. I'm just getting home from work. Baby, I had time to wash my hands. Let me put my rings back on. Um, I hate when I wash my hands and I put my ring or like I wash my hands with my rings and the water gets underneath it. Oh, I don't like that. Autumn, greetings. Hold on, let me see what y'all are saying. You had me liking that closest song. Oh, thank you. Um, for many years, I was deep into Chicago nightlife, and house music was always that thing that always did it for me. You know what I'm saying? Yo, how's is the camera doing okay? Baby, it's on a little bit of an angle. You doing all right over there? You all got me going? You see me okay? Hello, Miss Autumn. Hello, Miss Jones. Hello, 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 hello. Oh, y'all, this okay, there we go. There we go. Y'all, it's been a day. Let me get let me get in tune with the spirits, y'all. Let me get in tune with the spirits. Autumn. Oh, all right, that's enough. That's enough. Okay. Um, Let me ask you something, y'all. Do any of you know any Korean bands, K-pop bands? Let me know in the chat if you all know any K-pop bands. I personally, I don't know any of them, but I know they popular. There we go. Yes, 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 yes. K-pop Demon Hunter fan. Okay, so K-pop Demon Hunter fan. I work at a major stadium here in Chicago, and there was a K-pop band. I never heard of them before. I think they're called Ateez, Ateez. Darling, I had a bartend for the VIP portion. Sweetheart, these VIP tickets, these VIP tickets, baby, these children, I don't know where they got the money. It was $1,000 for this VIP. I don't know where they found that money, babies. That VIP section was packed. K-pop Demon Hunter, I'm fine, love. I'm fine. Welcome. 1,000 K-pop. I kid you not, 8,000. Baby, let me tell you, they had unlimited non-alcoholic beverages. We provided them food. They had access to the merchandise. There were step and repeats, and I believe after the concert, I believe they're gonna be able to meet the boys. Baby, who you telling? $1,000? Shit, that's half rent. $1,000. You never believe this. One of my baristas, when I used to go to Starbucks, I don't go to Starbucks no more. They piss me off. I don't like the way they do their baristas. But one of my baristas, she's over there. I was like, girl, well, I'm glad how I tipped you. You know, you was able to save your little rubles and you got to see your people. Jesse Cold Blooded, good song. Jesse Cold Blooded, yeah, you got me there, baby. All right, so we've got 10 people in the chat. Can we please hit the like? Come on now, please hit the like. Please hit the like. Please hit the like. And then subscribe to the channel. We're gonna get started. What is my favorite food, baby? I like anything that will not eat me fat. Okay, I like all foods, baby. Sweetheart, I am down home in Chicago, baby. I love me a good thin crust sausage pizza with garlic, and I love me a crispy chicken wing, honey. Yes. Yes. That's who I am. But I can't eat that all the time, so I'm generally eating salads or things of that nature. Although my Latin roots, honey, I love me some good enchiladas. Yeah, that sounds good. All right. All right. We got 31 people in the chat. Hi, babies. Welcome to 773 Oracle and Tarot. We're going to get this started right away. Please hit the like. Please subscribe to the channel. Um, well, look at, we're going to do a little bit of an unboxing. All right. These come from my favorite place, thriftbook.com. So please hit the like, do all that thing, subscribe to the channel. We're going to get into it. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your Friday night. Thank you for letting me be a part of your Friday night. Your work has been working me down, and I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain because so I've been doing some investigation. Now, y'all, there's a service. It's called StreamYard, and when I get my computer, my new computer, I can subscribe to StreamYard. It is $59 for the month. $59 a month, and I can get 10 people. You know, I could drop a link and you all can come up, and so it won't be so one-dimensional anymore. It won't be just me speaking to you all. We can interact. So that's what I'm doing right now. That's why I'm working the way I am. But baby, I'm here to tell you, between the stadium and the salon, sweetheart, and these prices going up everywhere, baby. So you all got to bear with me. My content has been slipping. I've been doing the very best that I can. So you all gotta just bear with me, y'all. I've been doing my readings. You know, I got some clients that were getting some readings, and I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that. Y'all, I'm gonna get through the topic, and then we're gonna talk about something. For this week, the clients that have been coming to me, baby, confusion, weariness, and indifference. That is what was going down this week. A lot of people were feeling confused. A lot of people were weary, and a lot of people, baby, they just working on fumes. So I want to talk about that, and yeah, I want to get into all of that. Okay, but let me look at the chat. Let me see. I'm bearing. Okay, I'm not sure what that said. This live sounds good. Okay, thank you, K-pop Demon Hunter. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love that you are happy. Oh, thank you, sweet. Thank you, Michael. Listen, it's not that I'm unhappy. It's just that baby, I'm tired. I'm tired, and sweetie, being around. So being an empath, you know, I wear my crystals. I do whatever I can to ground. But being around a lot of that energy, it wears me down. So after, like, say in the morning, I'm like, hey y'all, I'm gonna go live. You know, between now and when I come live, there's so many different things that have happened that by the time I get to you all, you know, I've just been worn down. But, you know, I'm a woman of my word, so I keep my promise, and I come to you and I do the very best I can. But baby, she's working 2 jobs. She's just doing the best she can, baby. She's just doing the best she can. Okay. All right. In the chat, y'all, let me ask you, has any of you ever heard of this name? Neville Goddard. Anybody? Any of y'all heard of Neville Goddard? Nobody? All right. Okay. All right, that's a no. All right. We're going to open this up. Hello, Order Express. Congratulations on your new dental work. I'm so happy that everything went well. Everybody in the chat, Order Express right now is a very good friend of mine, and without this individual, I would not be doing what I'm doing right now. This person has helped me get my YouTube channel up. I am very computer illiterate. And sweetheart, it's always good to have a computer savvy friend because they've been like just whipping it out. So y'all put some hearts in the chat for Order Express because without him I would not be here, honey. Hi baby, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Okay, so here we go. Neville Goddard's interpretations of the scripture. Okay. Yes, Mr. Stevens. Mind you, I'm high. Baby, I'm high on reefer, honey. So Order Express, we behind together, honey. Okay, we are high together, my love. Okay, and I'm glad you're here. All right. So Neville Goddard interpreting the scripture. That's one. And wait a minute, where's that thing? And here it is, y'all. Here it is. It's from thriftbook.com. Thriftbook.com. I remember paying full price for this book, but in one of my moves, my books got damaged because of flooding, and so little by little, I am replacing my books. Okay, so we got Neville Goddard right here. Here, interpretation of scripture, and then we got another one. Yeah, y'all, while I'm opening this up, give some hearts up to Order Express because that individual is the one that helped me get up on the YouTube and all that. And they just had some dental work. So they high as a motherfucker. Me too. But I didn't have no dental work. I'm just high because I take reefer. Okay. And now, Neville Goddard's The Bible Decoded by Neville Goddard, The Mysteries of Christ. All right. Let's get into it. Let us get into it. All right. So Neville Goddard might not be a household name, but everybody growing up in the sector of manifestation, baby, Neville's fingerprints have been all up and down the manifestation sector. Okay. Here in Chicago, we had a preacher of spiritual of new spiritualism. His name was Reverend Ike. So we had Reverend Ike. Hey, Chi-Town. We had Reverend Ike. So he was a student of Neville Goddard. And then we had people like Rhonda Burns from the Secret. Y'all heard about The Secret, right? So she was touched by Neville Goddard. Bob Proctor, who was in The Secret, touched by Neville Goddard. Louise Hayes. A lot of my oracle cards come from her house. Louise Hayes, she was a student of Neville Goddard. So, like Reverend Ike is he used to preach about unapologetic abundance, and he wasn't just preaching prosperity, he was channeling Neville Goddard's core, which Neville says that the imagination is God. And when you want to think about it, y'all, when you want to think about this, Autumn, you'll bet, yeah, Reverend Ike was it. Reverend Ike was it. So, but then, we wouldn't have Reverend Ike if we didn't have Neville Goddard. All right. So I want you all to think about something. When you think about your imagination, did you ever thought, like, where do those thoughts come from? And all that type of stuff. And I tell you all that your intuition and your imagination are channels of divine source. So that is what Neville Goddard was pontificating. Again, The Secret, Rhonda Burns. She credits Neville Goddard as a heavy influence. The same with Wayne Dyer. he's another giant in the self-help world. They all pulled from the same spiritual stream that but Neville was the sauce. Neville had that secret sauce. Now we're going fast forward right now, and his legacy, Neville Goddard's legacy, is still booming. His lectures are on old school recordings about imagination being the key to reality. Those things have gone viral. If you go to YouTube, you can find them. In fact, what I think I will do is in the description when I'm done, I will link the description. I'll put the link of the Neville Goddard channel in the link so you all can check them out for yourself, okay? And some of those lectures have hit like 1 million+ views. So when you really want to think about it, it's not just that old heads or academics are in this mix. There's like a whole Reddit community about I would say 200,000 deep that are actively decoding and applying and living Neville Goddard's philosophies like it just dropped yesterday. So the bottom line, Neville Goddard planted seeds decades ago, and now like the whole garden is in bloom. And so for those people who did not know who Neville Goddard was, I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that I can share with you these books. All right. So Neville Goddard, he was born in Barbados. He was born in Barbados in 1905, and he was 4 out of 10 kids. Yeah, Neville's mommy and daddy, they didn't have Netflix, honey, so I guess they had to do something to keep themselves entertained. Okay. At 17, Neville left Barbados, honey. He dipped that island life and he went to New York. He was chasing the stage. And by 1925, he was dancing at this place called the Hippodrome. And he was living that like Broadway grind. He was a Broadway dancer, okay? So, see, I will, baby. I will, Autumn. I definitely will. So, everything shifted when Neville met this dude. His name was Abdullah. Okay? Abdullah enters the picture, and baby, Neville's life's changed. Abdullah was an Ethiopian Jew, and he broke down the Kabbalah, and he taught Neville Hebrew, and he opened Neville's mind. So Neville Goddard calls Abdullah his teacher, and that's how real these teachings were, So by 1942, Neville got drafted, and he served 9 months in Louisiana before getting an honorable discharge. And shortly after that, he became a U.S. citizen. So he was no longer under British rule. So from Barbados to Broadway to spiritual master, Neville's life was the message. Okay, so there's a guy, his name is Joseph Murray, and he was a heavyweight in the New Thought movement, and he is best known for this book called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And Joseph Murray taught that your thoughts shape your reality, and your subconscious mind is the key to unlocking healing, unlocking success, and unlocking spiritual power. And Joseph Murray was also a student of Abdullah. So Abdullah had a lot of people coming off, shooting off that branch, doing what we're doing now, which is the spiritual work. All right. So I got these books. When it comes to Neville, he just wasn't reading the Bible. Neville Goddard wasn't just reading about, he was decoding it. He was showing people that, like, all the ancient wisdom, it wasn't just history, but it was a deep dive into how our minds work. So Neville Goddard's interpretation of the scripture, and it says, unlocking the secrets of the Bible. Okay, this book right here, This is not your grandma's Bible study by no means. Neville flips the script, saying the whole Bible is really about you. They're not just some old stories from way back, but he says that the Bible is a blueprint for your consciousness. And the main point in this book, he says that God isn't out there, but God is that I am. You know, when we do the affirmations, and I'll start I am, because those two words I am, everything that follows after those two words I am are now identifiers. You got me? So this book is all about unlocking that secret. And what you get in this book, like I said, it started off with like the I am. Like the I am is like the real MVP, most valuable player in this book. Look at there it goes. I am the way. And so, every chapter or every lecture kicks off letting you know that your consciousness, that I am, is a part of you and is the source of everything. And that's the real power player. That's what you get in this book. And like the punchline is like your mind is the only reality. And it's where you're going to see everything. Everything starts in your mind. So you'll see me like if you follow me on the Instagram where I'll post a story, I'll always say, get your mind right. Get your mind right. Because if you're not looking at your life, your world, and your affairs and your conditions in a clear way, you are going to succumb to some low vibrational feelings, and they're going to trap you there. It's like a spiritual flypaper. You won't be stuck there. And when you're stuck there, it's not easy. But the thing is that the lessons are coming through. And how do you get unstuck? And when you come out of that, you come off with more strength. You come out with more resilience. You come off with more self-empowerment. So there we go. Nay, I got something for you, baby. Stay right where you are, baby. Stay right where you are, because baby, you was a motivating factor for me this week, baby. So the Bible, like the way Neville breaks this down, the Bible is a playbook. And Neville is telling you, like, all of the characters in the Bible and all of the places in the Bible, they're not literal. They are like symbols for different vibes, different parts of your mind and your spiritual journey. So, like, again, like the punchline, you gotta read the Bible like it's a secret code for your own psychology, not just old tales. When you approach the Bible in that manner, it then becomes a living thing for you. It doesn't become like this book of like old stories and shit like that. We're not doing that. And with this book, he also focuses on our imagination. Like, imagine that, but for real, imagine that. And this is where Neville goes hard. He says that when you truly imagine something and you feel like it's already real, that right there, that's God in action. And that's how things manifest. When you feel things, when you act, when you speak, when you feel like what you want is actually here in the now, that is called the law of assumption. We know about the law of attraction, but the law of assumption is where the real manifestation works. All right? It's not. Listen, Mr. Stevens, you've been writing lately. You got to wake up and say, I am a writer. Same thing with you, Autumn. I am a writer. I am an author. I am. That is a declaration. Everything, therefore, afterwards is identifying. I am an author. I am a writer. I am a singer. I am a dancer. I am whatever it is. Whatever it is, you've got to live in the declarative, who you are. All right. So, like I said, the law of assumption is key. And this is no light work. You got to step into it feeling of having what you want right now. You've got to make it feel like you have it right now, like it's already done. And that's how you pull it into the world. All right. So, if you want to get what you want, act like you already got it. Deep in your gut, act like you already got it. You want to be a billionaire? Act and feel, like you already got it. You got to make sure that there's no scarcity. There's no doubt. I'm a billionaire. Because, darling, with the frequency that you emanate is what the universe is going to meet you at. The universe is going to meet you there. All right. So in this book, Neville says, like, the whole Bible story is like our internal glow up journey. So, and then he also talks about prayer. Like, prayer is not begging. Forget the hand clasps and asking for stuff. No. Prayer for Neville Goddard is about feeling the answer to your prayer as if it already happened. All right. Again, I told you I was doing some personal readings today, this week, and again, people were coming because of confusion. People were getting read because they were weary. People were coming for readings for indifference. That is what they agreed to. That is what they agreed to. After we deciphered what the card said, we then, the work was to get back on track, and to see where they got stuck and get them back on that track, so they were not held prisoner to this low vibe. So that is what we get. Oh, there was a big thing in this one, and you got to remember, y'all, I read this before, and now it's now it's used, but it's not waterlogged. So another one was about the resurrection. Everyone talks about the resurrection of Jesus, but let me ask you something. Hey, Miss Flores, let me ask you something, y'all. Did you ever stop and think about this? Did you ever stop and think about the challenges you come through? The challenges you come through. Whether you lost a job, whether you had your heart broke, whatever it is, whatever challenges came your way, and somehow or another, one day you woke up and your heart felt like, did you ever stop and think about that process as a resurrection? Every day when we wake up, that's a resurrection. We get a chance to be a better person today than we were yesterday. Hey, Miss Kimbrough. So Neville talks about that, and at the end of it, this book says like our spiritual journey just leads us into an inner awakening where we can realize our true self is divine. I always tell y'all are part of the divine. This book right here, Neville breaks it down. Neville tells you how it goes, how to get back to where we got lost. All right. Let me take a look at the chat. Let me see how we doing. I was a big fan of, okay, please share the book. I will. K-pop. Okay, everybody sorry. Hey, Miss Nay. Autumn, yes. Michael, yes. K-pop Demon. Oh, okay. Miss Flores came in. Please hit the like. Miss Kimbrough. Yes, Miss Kimbrough. How are we doing? Okay. All right. How are we doing out there? Are we on board so far? Are we good? Are we good? Because I'm about to give you the next book. I'm going to break down this next book. Here we go. The Mystery of Christ, the Bible Decoded by Neville Goddard, Volume 2. All right. So, this book gets deeper. especially on the Christ talk. For Neville, Christ wasn't just some dude from way back. Christ is that powerful, awakened consciousness waiting to burst forth inside every single one of us. The whole flex here is that Christ is your awakened imagination. The divine plan playing out within you, waking you up to the fact that you're God, that you are God, and you've just been snoozing. And again, going back, and let me say this, y'all. Let me say this. If at this point you're like, all right, Miss Ronnie, you lost me, I urge you to go and pick up your Bible, and I urge you to look in the book of Genesis. And we get through all those things. You know, we get through. In the beginning there was darkness, all that. And on the sixth day, God created man. And God created man in whose image? Who did God create man in whose image? Any answers? We don't read our Bible? In God's image. In God's image. God created man in God's image. Now, the majority of the religions would never teach you this. It's in the Bible. God created man in God's image. What that means is you are just like God. And I know that is a very big concept to understand. But you are a divine expression of God. You are just like God. And so it starts with a thought, and then you verbalize it. Your words cannot come back to you empty where you send them because of your divine origin. So when you sit there and say, oh shit, I'm tired. Oh man, I'm broke. Oh man, this shit hurts. Or, you know, all this bullshit and stuff like that. Whatever it is, you are activating that divinity, and think of the universe. Think of divine presence as a waitress, and she says, here's your order. Oh, I'm tired. Here's your order. Oh, I hate my job. Here's your order. That's why I tell you, you got to get your mind right, and then you got your verbs, your words, your verbalization is everything. It's everything. Okay? So, with this book right here, like I said, Neville goes deep with the Christ talk. Okay? The punchline for this book right here, The Mystery of Christ, is seeing your own consciousness is the divine. When you wake up to that fact, when you wake up to the fact that you are just like God and that you are an expression of divinity, two things happen. You can never go back. You can never go back to being a victim. You can never go back to being a victim. And then once you get past that, then you begin to understand how unlimited you are. That's scary. That shit right there is scary. When you feel that you are unlimited and you can do anything. We as human beings, as spiritual beings in a human existence, we get addicted to the struggle. This is what this book helps us with. It's like this is some human shit that's been imposed on you, and this was not your divine birthright. And it says here in the Bible, in this passage, blah 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 blah. This is where it goes down. This is what this book does. This is what this book does. So, you know, Neville goes and talks about the passion of the Christ. You know, And it's not just about the crucifixion. It's not just about resurrection. And it's not just about ascension. Like Neville says that this is just not history. And those are deep mystical experiences that go deep inside of us and level us up spiritually. And the punchline for that is that our journey of growth and awakening mirrors that whole biblical drama. Right now, I know that there are some people right now that got some heavy burdens. I know right now there are people that got crosses to bear, just like Jesus. And it was heavy. And under the weight of that cross, and under the weight of beatings, Jesus fell. Jesus fell 3 times. We don't count the many times that Jesus fell. We count how many times Jesus got up. And then when it couldn't get no worse, and as human beings, we thought, or as a collective, as humans, the best that we could do was to nail a man on a tree due to his different ideas. That didn't stop that symbolism of Jesus. On the 3rd day, when they went to go collect the body, they found that rock was rolled over and the body was gone. And the body was gone. And that's what we talk about in the first book, like the resurrection. You all are going through it right now. You all are going through it right now. But you all have the promise of rising again. You all have the promise of being risen again. You just cannot stay down. You've got to get back up. And wait a minute, it don't have to be pretty. You don't have to do it by yourself. It could be messy. It could be with help, but you got to get back up. You got to get back up. That's it. That's all. So the breakdown of this book right here, is that you save yourself. Ain't nobody saving you from the outside. Salvation in Neville's world is all about you waking up to your own divine power, shaking up all of those weak, fucked up, low vibing beliefs, and moving forward. And again, at the end of this, what you get is that you are in charge of your freedom by getting in sync with that divine I am and living like your desires are already here, going into the law of assumption. Oh, all right, I've been doing a lot of talking. Let me see the chat. Okay. All right. We doing all right? Okay. So I wanted to break down these books that I got. Yes, Martha said yes. Okay. I wanted to break down these books. And so in the chat right now, put a 1 in the chat if you all have been feeling a deep sense of confusion this week. Put a 1 in the chat, y'all. If there's been, yeah, oh shit, yeah, okay, that came up fast. You all are not alone. Because like I said, in between working these 2 jobs, I was doing my readings, and confusion came up. So let's talk a little bit about confusion. Confusion, what it feels like. It is that murky, tangled mess that's in your head. Like you're trying to navigate. Like you're trying to navigate. Like you're behind the wheel of a car and it's really foggy and you cannot see. I mean, you got your headlights on, but and it's the familiar black, but you cannot navigate it. And like the decisions feel heavy, and everything feels unclear, and you just feel stuck spinning your wheels mentally. And when this occurs, usually it's because there's too much noise. There's too much information. There's too many options, or you've lost touch with that divine inner GPS inside of you. You forgot who you were. And sometimes self-doubt comes creeping in, and it lets those outside of opinions drown out your whole sense of knowing. There's a spiritual price that we pay when we succumb to that confusion. Okay, when we get caught in the confusion, that spiritual price is stagnation and lost momentum. We block the clear signal from the divine. Our inner light dims, making it tough for like breakthroughs or fresh opportunities to even find us. And it's like spiritually, it's like we're on pause. But we as spiritual beings here on this earth school, we do not have the luxury to be on pause, because we were placed here to create. Are you with me? You guys got me? So if you all been feeling that sense of confusion, here is our homework. Here's your affirmation. If you've been feeling the confusion, if this affirmation slaps, put it in the chat. It's your first step. It is your first step to get clarity, all right? And we're going to affirm. We're going to affirm right now. I am divine clarity. My knowing is absolute. I am divine clarity. And my knowing is absolute. Okay? Let me see in the chat. Let me see what we got going on here. Okay. So moving right along. One of my people, he was telling me he's tired. And it was beyond tired. And he was weary. And when he said weary, I felt it. Weariness, this just ain't about being tired. Weariness is a soul deep exhaustion. It's like your whole being is heavy and drained, and you are just done. You're not mad, you're not sad, you're just done. Every move feels like it's a fight. And your spirit feels weighed down, and it just makes you want to check out. And when this occurs after long stretches, this occurs after like long stretches of stress, heavy emotions, or when we've been pouring out too much without refilling our own cup. And I know my women know that. Ladies, y'all are gonna have to remember that you know, your cup may runneth over, but you do not refill anybody from the tilth of the cup. They get the overflow. You gotta keep the tilth for yourself. You gotta keep the fullness of the cup for yourself. All right. So that weariness can also, it can also be from carrying burdens or neglecting to show yourself some real love. And we do pay a price. We pay a very big spiritual price for that. That weariness is a disconnection, a faded spark. You know, we pull back from the good stuff in life. We pull back from joy. We pull back from our own creative fire. Our energy gets low, making it harder to attract blessings, making it harder to connect with that vibrant, abundant flow of the universe. And it's like the spiritual battery is just flatlined. And you all been feeling weary. Oh, wait a minute, someone came. Hold on, what was that? Sometimes the weight becomes heavy. Yeah, yeah. Autumn, sometimes the weight becomes heavy. And sweetheart, and sometimes the easiest and hardest thing for us to do is just put it down. And again, as spiritual beings on this human in this human school, on this earth school, we become very comfortable being uncomfortable. We get to, all too often, we make our struggle a part of our identity. And it gets it gets to the point where we don't know where who we are begins and where the struggle ends. It just merges. So when that happens, we're going to affirm. We're going to affirm. I am divine energy. My spirit is boundless. I am divine energy. And my spirit is boundless. And really, when you think about it at this point, all of these two things are just because it's been disconnected. We've been disconnected from divine source. You know? So one of my clients, she was saying that she her thing was like she didn't give a shit no more. She was just indifferent. And that's just as bad as being weary. Indifference. It feels like it feels flat. It's a numb vibe. Not mad, not sad, just nothing. Things that used to get you hyped up or bothered now just slide off. It's like watching life from behind a window, disconnected. Almost like your spirit just stopped caring. This happens when, sometimes that indifference is a shield that we put up after getting hurt or disappointed in a way that keeps us from feeling too much. And that indifference, it can also pop up when we feel powerless. Or when we've been stuffing down our emotions for way too long. And it just leads to a general sense of detachment. And once again, I keep bringing it up. We pay a spiritual price for that. And that spiritual price of indifference is isolation. And it's a muffled purpose. Can't wait to, wait a minute. Waiting until the last minute to get out of that house, to go to work, and then coming to work, looking at the clock so that you can hurry up and get back in that apartment. Nothing out here excites you. Nothing out here has anything to do with you. That's what that indifference feels like. And with what we're going through right now in this time frame, I don't blame anybody for feeling the confusion. I don't blame anybody for feeling the weariness. I don't blame anybody for feeling the indifference. I don't, babies. I don't. But the thing is that is not who we are. That is not our purpose. That is not what we were coming here to do. We did not come here just to come here. Y'all, let me tell you something. In the chat, do you remember me talking about my ex-boyfriend of about 20 years ago, the one that now is homeless and has got spine cancer? Do any of y'all remember that? So he's been calling me, and that's where he's at. He is indifferent and he is weary. You know, and I'm like, you know, did you go to your case manager today? Are they able to find you housing? You know, whatever. And on my part, you know, for what I can, like, I'll Venmo him some money so that he can go and get some food or something like that. That's what I can do. That's what I can do. But yeah. And you know, the other night, you know, he's like, Ronnie, I don't want you to save my soul and stuff like that. And I was just like, dude, you just can't call me and tell me all of these things and not expect me to react, or not expect me to try to turn the tide somewhere. You know? I mean, yes, you've got a prognosis. Yes, you got a prognosis, but that does not have to mean that is it. And furthermore than that, it doesn't mean that that if you're just waiting to die, that this is what your life has to be. You know what I'm saying? And so again, you know, I came face to face with that a real deep sense of that indifference. So when we shut ourselves off from real connection, from passion, and from the very reason why our spirits came here to for the first place, which was to experience, to create, and to feel, we stop being a player in the game of life, and we just become a spectator. And that cuts us off from our unique divine mission and stops the flow of inspired action. At this point, I got 5 of you all in the chat. That's enough for me to take a poll. At this point, let me ask you all something. What do you feel of those 3 things is the worst? Is it the confusion? Is it the weariness? Or is it the indifference? There is no right or wrong answer. I just want to get a feel for how you all are feeling. Which of those feelings is one of the most monstrous to you? Weary, indifferent, indifference, yeah, y'all. If you've been feeling that, if you've been feeling the indifference, here's the affirmation that I got for you all. I am divine purpose. My passion ignites my path. I am divine purpose. My passion ignites my path. So, so, um, this week has been a heavy week for me, with working and then dealing with Christopher and everything like that, and um, keeping this community going is very important to me. I've been blessed with great moderators. I've been blessed with a small core of community that finds value in what I have or what I have to say, and so, I take that responsibility um uh, very real. I take it. I don't take it lightly. And somebody in the chat, not in the chat, but in one of the comments for one of the posts that I did, they went on to tell me that that life was really challenging. And until I get that StreamYard, until I get that computer, things are kind of like on hold, which is the reason why I'm working my ass off right there, so that we can be a little bit more interactive. And I felt bad that I couldn't help, or I couldn't get anything through. But this prayer came to me, and words are things. Words can build and words can destroy. Somebody lesser vibe would have said this would be a prayer for the weary, and that's celebrating the weariness. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. This prayer that I'm going to give you all right now is a prayer for resiliency. All right? We don't celebrate the weariness. We celebrate the resiliency. So, take a deep breath, let it out, get your body centered, close your eyes. You can keep your eyes open, whatever you want, but try to quiet your mind. Let some tension go out of your body, and here we go. Again, this is a prayer for resiliency. Divine Architect, Source of endless power, I come to you tired, weary in body, heavy in spirit. I won't pretend I won't pretend that I have it all together. But I remember who I am, born of divine origin. My strength isn't outside of me, it is in me. Flows through as, the power we both are. Remind me that resiliency isn't loud. Sometimes it's just continuing. I bend, but I will not break. Because I am held by something eternal. Each breath is proof that I still carry purpose. I trust the divine within me to rebuild what's been worn down, to renew my spirit, and to restore my walk. I move forward with grace, not because I'm strong, but because I come from strength. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. All right, y'all. And so it is. Thank you, Miss Martha. Amen, Miss Kimbrough. Give that little boy a kiss for me. We got 4 people left in the chat. Y'all, thank you so much for spending your evening with me. Y'all, if you could please like the video. If you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel. If you all get a chance, if you could let some of the videos play in the background just so that we can get the YouTube hours. If we get this monetized, things can move a little bit more forward, in a forward direction. Y'all, you don't know Christopher, but if you all could just send some positive vibes his way. This is somebody that is in need, and they got to find their own way, and we can only do so much. But if you all can send them some positive vibes, that may turn the tide for him. That may turn the tide for him. Autumn, hurry up with that #1 bestseller, baby. I need a computer, all right? All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nay. Thank you, Nay. I'm going to have listen, I'm going to put the descriptions of the book in the description. I'm going to put the channel for the Neville Goddard in the description. I will, when the transcription comes up, I'll put the prayer up, you guys. All right? So there you go. Oh, it's going to be a #1 bestseller, Miss Autumn. It's going to be a #1 bestseller, baby. So with all that, y'all, thank you so much. You all stay blessed. You know, please let those videos pass. Please share them around or something like that. Let's get this channel up, okay? All right, y'all. Y'all stay blessed. Have an amazing Saturday and Sunday, all right? All right, babies. Be well.